Okay.
Okay, so I know class really hasn't technically started yet, but I am going to go ahead and start recording because Ruth Ann asked Miss Doris asked a question, and I'm going to change your name to Doris instead of Clarice, or else I'll be calling you Clarice. So Miss
Okay.
Miss
I don't
Doris,
know how that got up there.
Miss Doris asked a question about, you know, kind of like what's next, what's next, what's next. And so I suggested, because this is what I did myself, I wrote down the series of movements on a piece of paper and then taped it to the wall so that whenever I was practicing, I didn't have to use my brain. I could use my brain for things like how to properly do the movement. I didn't have to worry about what was next, because that, you know, it's a lot to keep up with. So the sequence is, if you want to write it down and put it up on the wall, first you do commencement. Then you do open and close. Then you single whip, and that's when you follow that hand, the left hand. Then you wave hands and clouds to the right. Then open and close. Then single whip, but you follow your right hand that time. Then you wave hands and clouds to the left. Then you open and close, and then you close it out. So that, if you were to write that on a paper, you would write commencement, open and close, single whip, waving hands and clouds, open and close, single whip, waving hands and clouds, open and close, and then close it out. So that you can go back and add words like left, right, whatever may help clarify the direction, but that's the name of the movement. I found that very helpful to do when I very first started, because I couldn't remember everything. So I let my paper be my memory, and then I knew what was next.
Okay.
I just went and got my poster, and you know, it goes each of those movements, and I thought it said a list, but it doesn't. I just made that up myself. So that poster is handy, and has anybody ever shared with y'all that poster?
I ain't seen the poster.
The one
No.
I just had? That looks like,
I haven't.
it looks like this. That has all the movements.
No.
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
And then there's a poster for, these are all the warm-ups. So it has the one for our neck, shoulders, spine, hips, knees, ankles. So there's a whole poster for that too. Oh Lord, I done made a mess over here. Okay. Now, something that I did is I took another poster and I cut it up into pieces, and I made a copy of it on the copy machine. If you want me to mail it to you, I will mail it to you. If you'll just give me your address, all you have to do is tape it back together. I can also mail you a list of what I was just telling you, because I typed it up and I've handed it out before. It's different when you have virtual. You don't have people that you can just hand stuff out to. It's different. So, but I am happy to mail it to you.
Okay.
You just tell me your address and I'll do it.
Okay.
So y'all will let me know. You can email me your address. You can tell it to me.
Okay,
Whatever works.
yeah, because I think I can do better if I'm looking, like you said, if I'm looking,
Mhm.
when they tell me, if the first one, then I'm supposed to open and close instead of trying to think,
Yeah, it
you
helped
know.
me because you just can't do it all.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true. That's
Because I'm
true.
trying to follow the, yeah. See
Okay.
what the other group think too, because that would help me.
Does anybody want to give me their address, or do you want to email it to me, or?
Yeah, I
Oh,
give you my address.
Okay.
Me too, yeah.
6115 South Turkey Road.
What's the T word?
Turkey,
Oh, Turkey.
Turkey.
Turkey Road. Okay.
Camilla, 31730.
31730.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right. I'll put it in the mail this afternoon.
Okay, Doris.
Okay,
Okay, Doris.
Mine is 6219,
Okay.
and that's Turkey Road.
Oh, y'all live down the road from each other?
Yeah, everything is the same, Turkey Road.
South Turkey. Make sure it's South Turkey.
South Turkey. I got it.
We have a North Turkey too.
We don't want to go to North Turkey now. We like the
Right.
South Turkey.
Yeah.
Right.
Miss Doris, what is your last name?
Johnson.
Johnson.
Mhm.
If I didn't have a good memory, I wouldn't remember your name was Doris. I would think your name was Clarice.
Oh, yes, right. I don't know where
Okay, well, if anybody else changes their mind and wants to either, like I said, email me or somehow get me your address, I sure don't mind to send you a little packet of things that may be helpful. Stuff that I hand out to my class whenever I have them.
Okay.
My water, I'm thirsty.
At the end, I'm gonna get an A+. Hey,
Yeah, you're gonna get an A+.
I'm gonna get it because I'm going to send those.
If
The
I was
80-year-old lady's going to.
If I was rich, I'd fly us all to China and we'd do Tai Chi in the park. We might just have to go to the Burger King playground.
Miss Jennifer.
Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
I'm having time trying to get my video thing off because they said I need to try another video camera, but I'm just gonna go ahead and when I started correcting, I started just go ahead and try to correct and then get back on. But I stay on.
Okay. You can see me?
I can see everybody.
Oh, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Isn't technology wonderful, y'all?
Yes, goodness.
Normally I look at myself before I get on this camera, but now I'm noticing my lipstick was looking crazy.
I see everybody and everything, but I can't.
All right.
I don't see nobody. I don't see nobody.
You don't see anybody.
I see one person. Mine keep going in and out. No, I don't even see myself now. I used to be in the corner.
Do you see me?
Not now. So what I'm supposed to? I'm in the corner now. Okay, I see Ruth in.
Well,
Something
remember
going on.
last I talked about how for some reason it will bring the person who's talking into the big picture when I thought I was in the big picture the whole time. So I have yet to.
Well, you are. You are. When you're teaching us, you are. Because I'm watching you.
Yes, and it's probably because I'm running my mouth. That's why. That's not a negative. I guess I'm supposed to be running my mouth.
I, when you're doing the exercise, I see you. You're the only one on there that I see when you're doing the exercise. I don't know if you see me or not.
Yeah, I can see y'all. Y'all are on y'all are little, but what's really cool is that y'all are little, but I see y'all's movement all happening together. It is so cool to see because it's like y'all are in the same place and y'all are just in sync doing the movement, and it's really, really pretty to watch. So I hate that y'all don't see it that way, but it's really neat.
Oh, okay.
Okay, because I don't be seeing nobody but you. I only see you when you're teaching. I only see you.
Okay. I wish I was more familiar with a Claris tablet because I could maybe help you better, but I'm not familiar with them.
Doris, if you see 4 dots at the bottom, if you have 4 dots, click on the 3rd dot and see if you
It's
can
going
get
out. Okay, I see the
Click
4. Okay, Nick.
the 3rd one. Did you click on it? It should.
Yeah, the 3 dots, the 4 dots down at the bottom. I
Yeah.
tapped on. Okay, I just keep going in. Okay, I tapped on that. Okay, I'm up at the top now, but I see you don't see nobody else.
Well, I can see 4 people. You always
Okay, I see
4 on the tablet.
I see 3 now. Jennifer's at the top, but her picture's not up there. It's blank. Okay, now I see. Okay, I guess it's slow in here.
It may be raining there. Sometimes that affects Wi-Fi.
Yeah, because it is cloudy here. Okay. I see
Yeah,
Jennifer. Okay.
We have thunderstorm coming in.
Yeah, it's been raining here for about 24 hours.
Oh.
So it's not raining here.
All right, my dears, let's get started. Okay, Miss Barbara is on, but I can't see her, but she can see me, so that's good.
Jennifer.
You just let me know if you have any questions, okay?
Jennifer.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
I have injured my back.
Oh
no. I have a spinal stimulator
because
I had back surgery, and it only helps the left side of my back, my spine. And I fell a couple of weeks ago on my back when I was outside working in the yard. I lost my balance and fell backwards, and I think that I dislodged the lead from that stimulator battery pack, and I don't have an appointment until Monday.
Well, bless your heart. I imagine you're in some pain.
Yes.
Well,
so I'm afraid I won't be doing any movements today.
That's okay. I'm glad that at least you're here. We get to see your face, and then you may learn something. You may hear something differently, being that you're just watching. There's always lots of different ways to learn. So sometimes you may just have to watch for different reasons. And so I hope that you get the right answers so that you can get on the road to healing. That's always my fear of people falling, and my goal in teaching Tai Chi and everything I do with exercise is to help people be aware of how they're holding their bodies, no matter what you're doing, no matter where you are.
Had some dizziness lately too.
And you know, we talk about in bingo size, some of those exercises I feel like induce dizziness, like bending down and bending back up. That, and you probably were doing like that working in the yard. There's a lot of bending over and bending back up. So if you know that, and of course, Miss Gladys, please don't think I'm blaming you. I'm not blaming you. It's just a good reminder.
I blamed myself.
I know, but I don't want you to think like I'm being ugly to you, because I'm not, but it's a good teaching opportunity to say, like for me, I know I have to eat so that my blood sugar doesn't get low. Because if my blood sugar gets low, I get dizzy. So I can't do things if I'm dizzy. So you know, with blood pressure, if your blood pressure gets high, you start seeing like flashy lights, you know. I forget what that's called. It's like some type of migraine almost. But that makes you dizzy. So being aware of what triggers dizzy, that can help keep you from falling. So it's not just about exercise and getting your muscles strong and, you know, but just thinking, oh gosh, you know, you probably got wrapped up in beautiful weather and, you know, you kind of forget, but just always check in and remind yourself, oh, I'm going to do this, but I'm not going to do bending over. I'm going to do it in a different way. So that's our goal, is to not fall.
Yeah, I get scared when I be trying to do something. I say, oh no, I better not take that chance. Because I used to can do it, but I'm scared.
And then there are sometimes people get scared and they don't ever do anything because they're scared. And then what happens is their muscles get weaker whenever they don't use them. You know that saying, use it or lose it. So when they don't use those muscles, they get weaker. And then whenever they do actually do something, their muscles are weak and then it causes them to fall. So it's kind of like a cycle that we got to make sure we don't get in, where we don't want to limit our activity fully so that our muscles get weak, because that happens. That's called muscle atrophy. And you know, it happens to everybody when you don't use your muscle. All right, so let's get officially started with our Tai Chi. I know we've been started. It's always good to share information and be reminded of things, but we're just opening and closing our hands, getting our bodies warmed up. Now our temperature's got to get low again, doesn't it? So now that makes our bodies cold. So we have to especially be aware of cold muscles. We don't like to exercise or don't want to exercise with cold muscles because that sets ourselves up for injury. And we don't want injury. We want to have nice warm muscles that move easily, good mobility. And that's part of Tai Chi warm-ups, is just walking around, opening and closing your hands, bending your elbows, just getting those muscles working. You can do a warm-up strictly in standing in place, marching. You're in control of how high you bring your knees or low. You can march out and in, just getting that body warmed up. I noticed as I was going forwards and backwards as I was talking that it made my head feel a little bit dizzy. I think I swapped directions too quick. And so that reminded me to say, hey, you don't have to move. You can move and still be in place. You don't have to go back and forth. And I know that, you know, if we were in a room, we could just walk around the room. But when we're on virtual, we kind of have to stay in this one place so that we're in camera view. So just keep that in mind. All right, let's get to our warm-up stretches of each of our major joints. First, thinking about body awareness. Our feet at about shoulder width apart. Our both legs are holding our weight. Being conscious of our posture. So we have nice straight back, but we still have that relaxed shoulders. And we're just holding our body nice and stable. We want to make sure and think about breathing. It's easy to hold our breath when we're doing things and using our brain, and we kind of forget to breathe. So make sure you check in with yourself to make sure you're breathing. So let's start with our neck. We bring our hands up, or palms down, sorry. Bring those hands towards our chin and chest. Push away from our bodies, and then follow those hands all the way down. Just feel a little stretch in the back of that neck. Bring the hands up towards the chin and chest. Push away from our body and follow those hands all the way down. One more time. Hands come up, chin to chest, or to our chin and chest. I'm having a hard time with words today. Follow those hands all the way down. Next one, we're going to bring our hands up the same way towards our chin and chest. Drop one hand towards our hip and follow this hand as we look over that shoulder. You don't have to go as far as you can go. You just want to go until you feel that slight stretch. Slight stretch. Back to the front. Switch. We're going side to side. Working on that mobility of our neck helps us with everyday activities as we go through life. Specifically driving, when we have to look over into that other lane, make sure it's safe. We have to look over and see if there's anybody behind us so we can back out of that parking spot. Very good. Last one. Now let's roll our shoulders. Small little circles. Rolling those shoulders forward and then rolling those shoulders backwards, like a little massage you give yourself. Try to think about small circles about the size of a quarter. That's a challenge to keep that circle small, but we're just doing small movements to warm up. We're not pushing ourselves. Now let's go do our big shoulder circle. We bring our palms up and then push down in front of us. Inhale and exhale. I love using that one for practicing my breath. Now let's grab our ball. We're going to separate the heavens and the earth and stretch our spine. The hand on top of that ball pushes down towards the ground and the other comes up our spine and pushes up towards the ceiling. Stretch, keeping that soft bend in your elbow, coming back to our ball and switch. Last pair. Stretch that spine. And stretch. Back to that ball. Now let's take it for a ride. Side to side, stretching our spine horizontally. Letting the top hand be our lead hand. Go that direction, just above that knee. Switch hands and come back across. I like to inhale as I switch my hands and exhale as I come across my body. This is a good introductory movement to our waving hands and clouds movement, which looks very similar to this because it's a torso movement as we switch our hands and go side to side, or turning, as we say when we talk about waving hands and clouds. Very good. Give your body a little shake just before we go down to doing our lower body stretches. The one that
did one thing right this year. They allowed seniors.
oh. Say that again. Oh, thought somebody had a question. So these are especially challenging for our stabilizer muscles that support our weight. The first ones are for our hips, and we'll shift our weight to one leg, placing our heel forward and our hands are back, pausing in the middle, toe back, hands forward, toe back like a kickstand to help make it a more stable stance. Heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, and toe back, hands forward. Checking in, make sure you're keeping a good posture and not leaning. That's just a good thing to do throughout the day. And you'll start noticing it without thinking. Ooh, I'm holding my shoulders up, or ooh, I'm leaning forward. You'll feel it when it's wrong. Let's switch sides, shift the weight, heel forward, hands back, pause in the middle, toe back, hands forward. Now for our other hip exercise, we stack our hands, we shift our weight to one side, our hands follow that direction, and tap the opposite toe out, back in, switch hands, shift, tap, back in, switch hands, shift, tap, back in, switch, shift, tap, back in, switch, shift, tap, back in, and last time, shift, tap, back in. Those are for our hips. The next one is, and just as a reminder of that particular movement, because I think this exercise is good for everybody. You don't have to sit down if it's not convenient or if you don't have a chair close by. But that exercise done seated, it looks like this. I'm sitting on the closer to the edge of my chair. My feet are on the floor, still about shoulder width or hip width apart. And I'm going to, so if we're standing, our hands would go in the direction of the weight shift. So if I were to shift my weight to this leg by pushing it into the floor, this leg right here is going to lay out. And so that is the same movement to if you tap out. If you're seated, if you're sit down and you tap that foot out like that, that doesn't feel good on my hip. That feels like my hip may pop out of place. So that's not a good place to be. But if you lay that knee out, then it really stretches that hip flexor in your hip joint. So I'm here, I'm pushing this foot into the floor, and I'm going to switch my hands. Now I'm going to push this leg into the floor, hands go in that direction as I lay that knee out and stretch that hip. Bring it back up, just like that. So my hands are going opposite direction of that knee that's laying out. Now, if that hand is just too much, if the pushing that weight into the floor is just too much, then just simply lay that knee open, lay that knee out and stretch that hip flexor. That's what's most important. The hands make it Tai Chi. The pushing the foot into the floor engages muscle and gives you a little bit more stability in your seated position. But for this purpose, stretching that hip flexor is what we're trying to do. So if you're committed to doing everything seated, this particular movement is done that way, where you just lay that knee out and stretch that hip flexor. If you ever find yourself sitting a lot, do that hip flexor movement, and that keeps it from getting too tight. if your hip flexors become too tight, it can start causing you some lower back pain. You know that song, Them Bones, and it talks about how everything's connected. Everything's connected.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
The hip bone.
when one thing is really tight, when one muscle is really tight, then the muscles that it's connected to, usually it's the muscles that's opposite of it, those start having problems because they're trying to make up for how tight the other muscle is. So that's why stretching and warming up our joints is so important, and it's not something that we want to skip. So if anybody has ever done yoga or experienced yoga, that's kind of stretching at a whole different level. You can really stretch out some muscles. I've seen people really tie themselves up in pretzels. I mean, the things that they can do to stretch their body, it's amazing. But just simply that movement, laying that knee to the side, can help that hip flexor joint. All right, so let's get to our knees. We have our loose fist. I like to keep mine down by my hips. You may like yours more at your waist. As long as you're not holding tension in your shoulders, that's what's important. So we have no tension, loose fist. We're going to shift our weight to one leg. We're going to lift the other foot, tap the toe out, and punch that opposite hand. That's a counterbalance when this leg's out and the opposite hand is out. That's called a counterbalance. Shift the weight, lift, tap and punch, bring it back, shift, lift, tap and punch, bring it back, shift, lift, tap and punch, bring it back, shift, lift, tap and punch. Side to side, going through that movement. Woo, I lost my balance there. But that's okay. That happens. That stabilizer muscle went, whoop, and pulled me right back up. So it's not about losing your balance. It's about gaining it when you kind of feel yourself getting a little wobbly. That's where we want to be. The next is shifting the weight, step, heel, toe, shifting forward, keeping that back foot on the floor, bringing it back, feet side by side. Shift, step, heel, toe, shift as we punch, bring it back, feet side by side. Shift, step, heel, toe, shift and punch, bring it back, side by side. Shift, step, shift and punch, bring it back, side by side. So it's a small step forward. Now to our ankles. Shift the weight to one leg, heel, toe. Rocking that foot. That feels good. Shift to the other leg and heel, toe. Rocking that foot. Working the ankle joint, working on that range of motion of that joint. Now for our last ankle exercise, shift the weight and now do big toe, little toe, side to side. Very good. Shift, little toe, big toe. Working that range of motion of that. All right, give your bodies a good shake and we'll get ready to do our basic 6. Do y'all have any questions about any of the warm-ups?
Ma'am.
I'm thirsty. I'm gonna fill my water back up. So I'll do mirror image, and we'll do it several times. No, last week we did it to that music without talking, and that's when we learned that I wasn't the big screen if I wasn't talking. So y'all see my big water jug? If you ever see me,
Yes, ma'am.
if you ever see me, then this thing is always with me. It's a gallon jug. And then I pour it in here so I can actually lift it.
Okay.
If I were to lift that gallon jug when it's full to my face, I'd probably pour it all over myself. Oh, which let me tell y'all what I did. Monday, I was on my way to work, and hold on. You see this picture of me?
Uh-huh.
I drank a coffee and it went down the wrong way, and I had to spit it in my lap to come up and spit it in my car.
Uh-huh.
So I showed up at work looking this cute.
Oh, no.
I survived. All right, y'all. So back to thinking about our body awareness, just holding our body in a nice state. We're relaxed, but we're in control of how we're holding ourselves. Our weight is on both legs. We have that soft bend in our knee so that, you know, if something comes along and we need to react, that bend is going to help us react to it. So here we go. We're going to start with commencement. Okay, here we go and commence. Open and close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Y'all, I just got way off. I started waving hands in clouds to the other side and forgot what I was doing. I was thinking about last week how we went over each of our movements and that we really needed to go over waving hands in clouds. That was what was going through my brain. And then I forgot what I was doing. So let me back up to when we do open and close. And let's just start from there. And then I was worried about my feet not showing. Here we go, open and close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds.
Okay,
Going to the right.
good. Okay, I will follow her. This is good. Her right is going that way. You gotta go to the right.
Open and close.
Open.
Single whip.
Okay.
Waving hands in clouds.
Okay.
Open and close. And close it out. So excuse me for messing that up.
Okay.
We're going to do that again, and we're going to do it all the way through. And then remember last week how we went over specifically each movement of each one. And I think we made it to where we really didn't talk about waving hands in clouds. So we'll talk more about that specific movement today, but let's do it all again. Noticing if there's any places where you're unsure of what you're supposed to be doing. You're unsure if you're putting your foot in the right spot. You're unsure of where your weight is supposed to be. You're unsure what comes first. You know, let that guide you so that you can tell me, hey, let's review that because I'm not real sure. And it's okay to not be sure. We're here to learn, y'all.
Okay.
I didn't purposely mess up to show y'all that I'm not perfect. I'm really not perfect. So I've been doing Tai Chi for almost 10 years, the same exact movements. And see, sometimes I still mess it up. So we're not in here to be perfect. We're just in here to learn. We're learning the principles of the movements so that we can apply it to Tai Chi class, but out there in the world too while we're moving our bodies. That's the main goal here. All right.
I see.
Ma'am.
Once I get the pictures, I'll follow those instructions when you send them to me.
Yeah, you'll like those pictures.
Yeah, when you send those, I'm on.
Yeah. All right, here we go.
Okay.
From the top. Make sure I have room to step. Here we go and commence. Open and close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds.
Yeah.
Open and close. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open and close. And close it out. So did any of that, those movements make you think, oh yeah, I need to really work on that?
Yeah.
You laughing because sometimes people will say all of it. I need help on all of it. That's okay. That's why I said, that's why we have classes, so we can get help with all of it. But really talking about waving hands in clouds. So just the footwork of waving hands in clouds. Our first one, of course, comes from that single whip where we're here. Our eyes are on this left hand, and we bring that right foot, that right hand in to start stepping. So forget about our hands for a second, and let's just simply step for waving hands in clouds. So we step out with our right foot, and that's about shoulder width apart. I mean, it's further than hip width apart. You see, my legs are pretty wide here. I'm going to shift the weight and then bring my left foot in about hip width apart. So I'm going to shift, step a little further than hip width, shift, step right at hip width, shift, step, shift, step, shift, step, shift, step. So that's the footwork of waving hands in clouds. We're stepping, like I said, a little further out than hip width, shift, and then bring that foot into about hip width apart. If we brought it in too close and we went to go shift our feet, shift our weight to the new foot, we may fall over. So that's why we keep it at hip width. Shift, step out. We don't want to step out too far because then we've gotten ourselves in a bind and we can't recover from it. So that's something to practice, is walking sideways slowly, shifting the weight. Step, that's called a follow step. Shift, step, shift, follow step. So I'm moving in that direction. I'm moving to the right. This right leg is my lead leg. This left leg is my follow step leg. So
Okay. So the right is the lead. Okay, when you're going right, and your hands going right. Is that correct?
yeah.
So
When we start adding the hands, then it's step right, wave right, shift, step, switch. So we stepped left, now we wave to the left. Step left or step right, switch hands, wave to the right, switch hands and step. We stepped right or we stepped left, we're waving to the left. So whatever leg we just stepped with, we're getting ready to wave with. So it's step right, wave to the right.
okay,
Step left, wave to the left.
Okay.
Step right, wave to the right. Step left, wave to the left. So if you break it down like that, you know, we've talked about our words being switch, step, turn. So I went back to using the word wave because I've done it for so long. Let me regroup myself and talk about turn, because that's the word we use here. So when we step right, we turn to the right. When we step left, we turn to the left. We step right, we turn to the right. So that left or the foot leads us, we make the step, we switch our hands, we turn to that direction. Step, turn to that direction. Switch, step, turn to that direction. So whatever foot just stepped, you then turn towards that foot that just stepped. So if I step right, I wait or turn to the right.
Okay.
Step left, turn to the left.
Okay. What I do, you know what, Jennifer, I do it all in one. See, I'm not doing, I'm not stepping first. I have no problem stepping first and then turn. I'm doing it all together. I seem like I'm doing it together.
Well, that may not be a problem, Miss Doris, because what we do when we learn is we really break it down and make it choppy so that you know all the parts. If you try to rush through it, then you may be skipping something. But once you really practice and get really good at it, then it'll look kind of like this. Hold on. Let me get to the spot. Okay, here's waving hands and clouds. We'll see how it's a lot more blended. It's not like I stepped and then turned. It just kind of, as soon as I stepped, I started already moving that way.
Right. Okay.
So if that's what you're doing, that's not a problem.
Okay, I'll be doing, yeah, I'll be,
You
Definitely
may
same
just be
time.
making it more smooth. Whereas when I review the movement, I break it down and make it choppier like. So melting the movements or making them more smooth is not a problem. It's not a problem to make it more smooth. What would be a problem? Well, if when you stepped, your feet were too close together. That would be a problem, because whenever I start to shift my weight to one leg, then I feel myself falling over because my feet are too close together. So we want to at least keep our feet hip width apart, shoulder width apart, and that gives us better stability. So feet too close together would be a problem. I noticed that sometimes when I do that follow step, sometimes I'm wondering, oh, is my step a little too close? When I shift the weight, I don't have a problem. So it wasn't too close. Like I said, just check in with yourself. If my leg's here and I go to shift the weight, then I'm really going to have to bend that knee into it to hold myself stable. So that's just part of practicing and finding what feels right for you. Because if you have longer, if your body is shaped different, you may step a little bit wider. That may be more comfortable for you. I'm a short person. I'm 5'2". I can't step out real wide. If I step out too wide, then I get myself in a bind. I'm out here and I'm going, shift weight. Well, that's not going to work. I don't shift weight from here. The only thing I can do is crouch down a little bit and kind of kick off this leg. So I got to kick off to pull myself back up. So that put myself in a bind. So that would be wrong. Let's see, what else would be wrong? If you stepped this way and then turned this way, and then stepped this way and turned that way, that would be wrong, because then you're fighting yourself. You're not going in that same direction with the movement. You would be going here, there, here. You would be fight. It would feel like a fight. So there are ways to do it wrong, but there are lots of ways to do it right. So waving hands and clap. Let's start at that first single whip, and then we'll go through the movement. We're starting.
Mine is going in and out. I don't see you now. Mine is going in and out.
Well, heck, you must be getting ready to get a storm.
Mine going in and out.
All right, well, hang in there, and then you'll always have this as a recording to come back to if you need to review it. So we're coming from waving hands and clap, or from open and close. Then we do that first step. So we shift, step, push, turn, separate, following that left hand. Here's waving hands and clouds. Switch, step, turn. 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 To the middle for open and close. Single whip, shift, step, push, turn, separate, following that left hand, following that right hand, shift, waving hands and clouds, switch, step, turn, switch, step, turn, switch, step, turn, switch, step, turn. To the middle for open and close, and close it out. So I really talked you through that.
Okay. Okay.
So that incorporates those 3 words, the switch, step, and turn. So now let's do it with just calling the name of the movement. We're here at open and close. We single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Opening. Single whip. Waving hands in clouds. Open and close. And close it out. Any questions about the waving hands in clouds?
I don't have no question. Well, I can do that part. I just got to get the feet part.
All right, well, that'll work. I noticed I was really feeling that when I got to this part right here, I immediately started switching my hands. Coming
Okay.
back across, switching hands, coming back across. So, you know, in the beginning, when we're doing that spinal stretch, we're holding our ball and we're going side to side. We're turning that body side to side. It's that exact movement. Waving hands in clouds. Watch this trick. Oh, it's the same body movement. My hands just changed a little bit. Get here, switch my hands, come across that body, switch my hands, turn to that next direction, going side to side. So spend some time just feeling that when you get here, you immediately start switching, come back across, immediately start switching. Just feel that smoothness of the movement. Waving hands in clouds. Make sure that your body is staying upright and that you're not leaning, because sometimes, and I'm not saying y'all are, but I've seen before where people go like this, and I turn to the side so y'all can see it. They're going out. You see how my body leaned out?
Yeah.
They're going
Yes, ma'am.
out, and then they're going out.
Yeah.
Well, out. Keep your
I
body
try to
upright
stand.
and go side, side.
Yeah.
Stay
Okay.
close to your body with your arm movement. You have space in your armpit, so your arms aren't flat against you. You have that space there, but you're staying fairly close to yourself. So you're not having to go way out here. You don't have to do anything big here. So just practice the smoothness side to side of that movement. All right, let's cool down by giving ourselves a little fist massage, breaking up any lactic acid that causes us soreness, telling our legs, thank you for working so hard for us today.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, legs. Keep working.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so now we create tension. We gather it. Oh, that just doesn't feel good, so we let it go. We inhale, and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Now let's do that big shoulder circle. We come up, palms up, and push down in front of us. Inhale up and exhale. Inhale and exhale. And then we make a fist with our hand that represents our strength. Our fingers together, that represents our friendship. Our thumb bent in, that represents our humility. So strength, friendship, and humility, put that together in mutual respect. We say namaste.
Namaste.
So thank y'all. I'll get those in the mail to you. And if that will help you, I'll be glad to do that. And I'll put this YouTube video or this video on YouTube for you to revisit. Also want to let you know that I did add 2 videos that are kind of tutorial type follow me videos. They are only the warm-ups. So I did the warm-ups with words. So I talked through the warm-ups, and then I did another video of the warm-ups with no words. I put on music and I just went through the warm-ups. So if you ever just want to practice the warm-ups, but you don't want to go to individual videos, like the video for just the neck, the video for just the shoulders, now I have it in one place. So you can watch that. And so those are new. I put those up on Monday. But just be watching out for this one if you want to rewatch it. And if I don't hear from you, then I'll see you next Thursday.
Miss
Okay.
Jennifer,
Ma'am.
my address,
Uh-huh.
okay, it's 214.
Oh, I'm like, who am I talking to? It's okay, 214
My MLK,
MLK.
Junior Avenue,
Okay.
Southwest Cairo, Georgia.
Southwest Cairo, Georgia. And what's your zip?
39828.
39828. And what's your last name? It's Miss Barbara, right?
Barbara Hatcher, yes, ma'am.
Hatchery.
Hatcher, Hatcher.
Okay. All right. I got you. I'll put it in the mail this afternoon.
Okay.
All right. Love y'all.
Love you. Thank you.
Thank
You're
Jennifer.
welcome.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.